In this tutorial, we're going to go over the multi-row formula tool. We're going to use this tool in order to remove any rows where a name only appears in one bucket. So a name only shows up in the first 10 years or the last 10 years. We're removing these because it's impossible that a name would have swapped from being exclusively used by one sex to exclusively used by the other if it wasn't used at all in one of those time periods. It's also worth noting that Alteryx does have a better tool to handle the tasks that we're going to be doing in the next few videos, but it's a useful skill to learn how to use the multi-row formula tool, and that's why we're going to go over it. So, to find the tool, we'll go into the preparation bar and select multi-row formula. This gives us a whole bunch of options, but first we want to specify that we are creating a new field. This new field we're going to call potential swap, meaning that we're going to store something if it is possible that it is swapped, and we are going to store something different if it's impossible. Our textbook has this listed as a length 254 string because it hasn't quite taught enough about data types to explain what a Boolean is yet. But you guys should understand why that might be a better choice. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the number of rows to consider before and afterwards. Since we sorted our data by name and then by year bucket, that means that if there are two rows with the same name, they will be next to each other. It will either be the row before or the row after that has the same name if anything anywhere has the same name. So 1 is good enough. We don't need to run a group by because we already did that during our summarize step. And I'm going to squeeze this a little bit to make some space. I'll squeeze this one too to make some space. This will give us a little more room to see the expression. Now, the expression that we want here is going to be another if-then statement like we had before. But in this case, it's going to be if a name matches neither the row before nor the row after, then we want to throw that row away. Because if it doesn't match the name before or the name after, then we don't have data from both years. So, if name is not equal to row minus 1 name, and name is not equal to row plus 1 name, then remove, else, check, and if. So, going through this again, if it meets both of these criteria, then you should remove it. Otherwise, we'll keep using the data and then apply other rules to it to see if it's worth keeping. We're removing stuff that doesn't have another row with the same name in our data set. Nice, simple, straightforward. Let's go and take our browse tool and put it here. And let's also add a browse tool right after our sort so that we can compare them. And then we're going to run. Ran nice and quick. So we've got, oh, here we go. The name Adriel only appears in the last 10 years. Addison appears in both, Adrian appears in both, Adriel doesn't. So let's go and see what happens after we've applied our multi-row formula. We have, as we would expect, Adriel says remove, Adrian and Addison say check. So we've got what we were expecting, and that's always a good sign.